enjoy the ride. We cannot guarantee your safety or your sanity. Enjoy this story, but remember, you'll never get to your destination.
Welcome.
Nice.
Yep, that. And by the way, I told everybody about your logo, and everybody loved it.
Oh, cool, man. Thanks.
I showed it to Joe, and Joe was like, "Oh my god, it's so cool!" So, hello everybody. We're here with Mr. Church and Mr. Brian Hulan, hosts of the Cryptoholics. Man, I love your show. I am crazy
Oh,
about your show. I how long have you been doing that?
About a year now, close to it.
Is it a year?
It's close, isn't it? I think we were talking about
so.
that last time.
I think so. Yeah. Probably
10
about a
months.
year. Yeah.
Goofy little
Because
show.
you guys have it down, man. Let me tell you, I just this show is unofficially sponsored, man. I love it.
We just want to have fun. That's it.
I
Yeah.
watched the episode. I don't know if it was the last one with the witch and the dirt samples.
Yes.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, I was tripping out.
I'm still tripping over that.
I was watching it at work, and I was like, the phone started ringing, and I'm like, fuck that, I need to see this. Because she was like, yeah, I feel this in the sun and the house and the laughter and the kids, and I'm like,
Dude, that really freaked me out. That even more than the other stuff. But that's why I did it, because I wanted to, let's see what Roxanne can do.
Yeah.
oh,
It's the real deal.
she did amazing. Let me tell you, I was impressed. I know everybody that watched it must have been impressed as well. Because
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, you probably need to. It was just out of the box way of, submitting evidence.
yeah. And well, I don't think we ever got to talk about this, but what was your first experience? What got you into the whole cryptozoology world?
Go ahead, Brian.
I mean, mine's probably just like anybody else's, just simple things, just different shows. Patterson Gimlin film, that footage is amazing to me. I know it's still argued to this day, but and then probably what really pushed me was my daughter a few years ago. She took an interest in it. So we started going out, met up with a couple people, met these guys, Shane, and we got Tim, and who else? Dustin,
Kendall,
Bray, and
Joe De Hoyos.
yeah, Joe.
Oh, Joe, the great Joe, yeah, absolutely.
Gomez, and then we just kind of all started our group, and it kind of just evolved from there. Then of course my daughter lost interest in Bigfoot. Now she's moved on to other things,
Yeah.
Wait, how old was she when we started that?
She's about to be 16 in a couple weeks, so what, 12 maybe?
20.
So
Yeah.
maybe
Wow.
10 or 11, she really started getting into Bigfoot and kind of getting me watching shows, like typical stuff that's on, the Finding Bigfoot and all that kind of stuff.
And not only that, but she named our group.
What?
Yeah.
She actually did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she named our group.
Yeah. I guess we should probably give her credit somewhere in the fine print.
she's
not even on
gonna come.
Facebook.
She's gonna come back for it at some point.
Yeah, some of this is what money at, Dad.
And what about you, bro?
Oh man, me it was definitely Patterson Gimlin footage, and then always had the interest. You see the books in the library, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But it didn't really come back to me, I think, until Monster Quest started.
Oh,
And when
Monster
that came
Quest.
on, it's like this little bitty thing back there went, remember? And I was like, oh yeah, and then when I turned about 40, I was like, I need an adventure, and here we are. So
Damn, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
so, how long have you guys been doing like your group? How long has it been together?
2018, right? 2017?
17, yeah.
2017.
That's
Four
nice.
years.
And what are your what have you seen so far? Have you had time well, I'm gonna say something. I love your casts.
Oh.
They are amazing.
Yeah. This one I got. I've got
Oh my lord!
I got the wall around it because I'm gonna try to
What?
I know, dude.
It's gonna be awesome.
That is big.
It's
Start making
insane, right?
those. So
Wow! I cannot wrap my head around how big that is. Did you measure that?
Yeah, that's 16 inches. Was it about almost 8 inches across at the fattest part? And then
I could.
that's that one. We have 20-inch prints
He
also.
could probably just stomp on my face and just splatter it all over the ground.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it would be like short work.
Yeah.
Whoa!
You'd be gone.
I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but in my opinion, I think you are the king of prints because
Wow.
I've seen your prints and they look fantastic.
Wow.
Like
All right.
when I first saw the ones that night we were hanging out in that area, uh, I was just looking at it and I was like, "Whoa! You can see like all the details in it."
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of shocked. I was like, "That's amazing!" And then you showed me the other one. I was like, "Whoa! Look at that!" You know, like you kept out doing it. That's amazing. I just think that was so cool, man. That was crazy. It was crazy.
Dude, I will give you one of these replicas, man.
No, man, I'm telling you. And then I was like, man, how does he do it? Because I've been out there. Well, you know, I hate the couple of trails that are around here. The one that we went to where we left the cameras. Remember that?
Yeah.
oh, I think he froze up.
Yeah, I think he froze up.
He'll reboot here in a minute.
There he is.
There
There
he
he
is.
is.
There he is.
Can't.
We lost him again.
There he is again. Oh, he's
Yeah.
just playing.
He's toying with us now. So.
Yeah.
All right, he's there now. I think he's live.
So I don't know if you remember that to that place we went and we left the cameras and the recorders and all of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
that place, I'm pretty sure that there's, you know, we just need to spend a lot more time there. But I was thinking to myself before that, how the heck does he even find these things? Like, because let's be honest, it's not easy to find a footprint.
You're right.
It just isn't. You go to any forest and there's all those leaves, those pine cones, you know, there's, you know, all that trash from the trees and whatnot. So how does he does it? And then I saw you moving around and then I saw you, oh, there's a creek. Let me follow it. And I was like, oh, this guy is fucking smart, you know.
Yeah, the
Because
creek, man.
I would have never thought of it. To be honest, I would just kept on the trails and I would have never moved anywhere else. And that was kind of amazing.
Because we've actually followed these prints, and once they get off the bank or go wherever the hell they're going,
Hmm.
you just lose it. You might see an indention, and then it's gone.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
setup or something like that, or maybe a toe print or something later
But
on.
the closer you get to the creek, you know, the water, the more moist it is, the ground. So,
Have you ever followed like the whole? Have you ever found a set of prints that you can follow to a certain point?
We followed remember the first set.
Oh,
Back in
yes.
2015, we followed that about 125 yards, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, because it came down like a somewhat similar to what a logging road looks like. It's dirt. It was
Mhm.
very compact, but you could see where the spot where it kind of rubbed, into the ground, because their feet have to be rough. They have to be.
Yeah, they
Walk
have
on
to
their whole
be.
life. So the same stride it had, the same size print it left. Uh, we tracked it back to where it stepped out of the tree line. Brian found a huge heel mark. Like you can tell it just came down, and
Whoa.
so we tracked that back up across into the woods up to the north, and we ended up stumbling upon a barbed wire fence, right?
Yep.
And you could actually see it. To me, it looked like it stepped over the fence and almost like moved its foot, like this or something.
That's
like
crazy.
that, and started walking.
That's crazy. And have you ever like been tracking like the footsteps and all of a sudden get him howling at you or screaming at you or throwing rocks at you or
The only thing that happened was that 2018 when we were tracking it, like we just said we were talking about. We actually went forward to where we were trying to project maybe where it went.
Mm.
And as we went down the creek, we got to a point where I started feeling really kind of sick, like sick to my
Yeah.
stomach. Heart was beating on my chest. Anxiety, a different kind of anxiety was,
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
and it stayed that way until we left because I was like, I gotta get out of this area. I gotta go. And yeah, it hasn't happened since. So
That's crazy.
We had
now I've got. Go ahead.
the rock bar incident. Remember where we saw the
Oh,
in the
dude.
rock bar, and we had those howls that night. So
That's when we were very green. Okay, so
Yeah.
we were kayaking down Mountain Fork River, and
Uh-huh.
we pulled over to the bank because we kind of saw some disturbances on the bank, and we got out, and we found pretty much similar to what kind of like what Darren had. Darren's little
Mhm.
5 little prints.
Mhm.
They might have even been smaller than that. And they went down the bank. We tracked it down about 80, 100 yards or so, and it kind of curved into the not the wood line, but there's a lot of brush.
Right.
And the tracks actually led up to a worn out spot around a persimmons tree, which produces fruit.
Right.
Okay, so then we get back. We didn't have any casting material, but we get back in the kayaks and we go back down to the rock bars. We literally call it a rock bar because it's literally like a little island of nothing but white rocks, big ones like this.
All right, and there's no access to this island except for by kayak.
Now, you can go through the woods if you want to.
yeah, you could. You could swim across it if the
Yeah,
water.
or you can swim.
If the water.
Um,
It's not a big island like you think. It may be. I don't know. What do you think, Shane? Maybe 20 yards wide by
yeah, something like that.
yards
Okay.
long. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not very big.
Okay.
And it's as bright as white as can be. There's like no barely any vegetation on it or anything of that nature.
Okay.
So that bank, we kept going down the bank. We got back in the kayaks. We're going down, kind of figuring out where the hell did this little dude come from.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the rock bar, and and Brian noticed these huge gouges going across the rock bar, and they were spaced out.
What?
I wish we would have measured all that, man.
Yeah,
Because
they were about 5.5, 6 foot apart, probably.
yeah, big gouges, and I mean, we when we walk on it, you walk and the rocks kind of move, like she kind of like
Yeah.
the playground rocks.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was these big gouges going across, so we're thinking, well, hell, what if it was like a little one, on the bank, and Mama's coming down the hill and running across the rock bar saying, get your ass home.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Or you weren't supposed to move, or something.
Holy moly! How did you feel when you saw that?
I was go ahead, Brian. You
Yeah, I was just gonna say it. You kind of stare at it. I mean, even when we found these original tracks in April 2018, you just kind of get lost in it. You're looking at them. You're looking at something that's not real. First off, especially when you find
in your
a
mind.
Or at least something that's not supposed to be real.
exactly. So you're trying to comprehend it in your head, right? Even when we found the first 20 track in June of that year, I stared at it for I don't know 10 or 15 minutes, trying to tell myself it wasn't what I was seeing, right? Because it doesn't exist. You're looking at this huge, 20-inch track that's bigger than your torso, and you're looking at it like it's not real. It can't be real, but there it is. You got the heel, you got the foot, you got the toes. It's obvious.
I wish people would get that because, I know that some people might think, he made it up, or it's so easy. They just go there and they make it and then they come back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we get that all the time too.
And they don't know that when you're there, you're just like,
yeah.
Not only that, it's the amount of times that you go. If we found tracks every time we went to this area,
we'd have thousands.
We go 100 times and we might get lucky and see one.
Yeah.
And that's the realization of it. People think, oh man, these SBA guys, they go in the woods. Every time they go in the woods, they find tracks. Man, that's the farthest thing from the truth right there.
Yeah, we go out there, we click our heels 3 times, wiggle our nose. And,
we get skunked so much. And Shane especially, we're big about doing live videos and talking about our experiences, but we don't go live every time because there's just nothing to show, and who wants to watch? They watch us every other Wednesday talk about nothing. They don't want to watch us, during the day, walking around the
Sweating
bush.
our ass off, picking
I
picks off
know.
our nuts.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because since I started doing investigations and researching and going out to the field, and when people ask me about it, they just think that you're just in Disneyland. That every time you go out there, you're gonna find them, but you're crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, that doesn't exist. No, it's impossible. We're never gonna see any of that. If they only knew.
Yeah.
If they only knew that. I mean, in my opinion, I think that they only allow us to see them when they feel like it because they got the total advantage over us. I mean, these creatures are stealthy, and like I was telling you before we started the show, the minute we got to that side, they started imitating donkey sounds, and we were very distraught. You get out of the truck, you close the door, and the first thing you hear is rah, 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 rah. And then to the other side, you hear ooh, 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 ooh. And we're like, and I'm like, I told you I wasn't crazy. I told you all I wasn't crazy.
Hang on, I gotta get this shit out of my pants real quick
Yeah,
before we move forward.
and and it's just amazing when you get to hear things like that and you get to record them because people don't realize, like we're talking right now, it takes countless hours and hours and hours of walking the forest, eating spider webs,
Oh yeah.
sweating. So I'm glad that you guys can actually come out here and say that.
I think one thing that people don't realize, and this is just my own theory on this, is sometimes we can't see what we don't understand, right?
Right.
So, just for instance, the 20-inch track, and I don't mean to brag on myself for here, but Shane will testify to this. The whole team walked by that track, right? It's just it's not real. Your brain cannot compute it. So I think people need to look, and this is one big thing of why we take our cast to shows and we want people to look at them. We're not trying to sell them. We're not trying to be famous off this or anything like that. But once you start letting your brain see these things, then when you go into the woods, you're going to see them a lot easier. It's just like us, our group. We see tracks easier now. In the beginning, there's no telling how many that we walked by. Same way with the creature. I know that if you're out there in that night, your brain just can't absorb it, right? Because it's never seen it before.
Right.
So as you're surveying the area, you may have actually seen it, but your brain won't register it until you see one. So that's how it happened for me. Like I finally got to see one. So the next time I was 90% sure I got to see one that night. But when I finally got to see one during the daytime, I mean, I instantly picked up on it because my brain had it in the memory. Like it's like, okay, this is what this is, and I zeroed in on it. Same way with these tracks. That's just my theory, and I may be an idiot and I may be wrong, but I
Well,
think
no, I don't
what I
think you're
saw.
an idiot at all. I think you're absolutely right. Because you guys have been doing this for quite a while now, correct?
Yeah.
I'm green. When Shane showed me on the site where I had my first encounter, when Shane showed me that broken tree, I never saw the footprints that were around that place. And trust me, there's a lot of them that lead to the creek, and that's quite a distance, right? Right, Shane?
Oh
It's
yeah.
quite a distance from where that tree is to
Mhm.
the creek. It's a ways down, and we saw a print that was really big, not quite as big as the one you have right there, and we saw a little print.
Oh,
So it was like Mama was carrying little kid, like move your butt,
yeah.
get over there.
Get your ones.
Yeah, and then there was a little hill, and you can see where they both jumped from the little hill down, and you can see where they jumped because you can see the press, and then you can see where it pressed on the other side. So we were like, "Whoa, that's amazing!" It's, you're right. It's hard to see these things. I couldn't even see it.
It is. It's
Yeah.
hard. And it's just I don't know. It just frustrates me sometimes when people think it's just so easy in that. I mean,
Or
It's not.
it's
or
work,
or they
a
say,
lot of work.
man, that's 20 inches, man. That's not even real.
Yeah,
How
that
the
can't be
hell do
real.
you know?
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Show that food again. That cast you got there. That's amazing.
I'll
I
grab
am
I'll
mind
grab the phone here
baffled.
real quick.
I cannot fathom that.
So it picked up
Put your head next to
5
it.
toes.
Put your head next to it. Look at that. Holy moly.
Yeah,
Now here is the 20-inch that we were talking about that everybody passed.
it's heavy too, man.
Oh, I bet.
You see the
Oh, that's
big toe?
crazy.
Yeah, that's a 20-incher, man.
What on earth?
And that's a
You're-
deer print that you see sticking up right there.
Yeah, you see that little yeah. So a deer like tri or quad step to get the drink out of the creek, like they
You
do.
see a print there too.
Mm-hmm.
That
'Cause we're
toe is as big as your hand, Brian.
Dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's 5 inches. The toe
Bro,
is 5 inches.
wow. What do you estimate the height of that thing was?
Oh, I love this question because
About 4 foot
well,
tall. It's really short. They just got really big feet. So.
3.5, yeah.
Yeah, you got 3'9".
they have really long arms too. So they
Yeah.
can run around.
They're real disproportionate. Poor guys. I don't know.
So-
really.
Well, we don't really know because I haven't seen one out there, but when those 16-inch were cast back in 2018, like I was telling you, this kind of out there where it's sand. In between the second and third step, right above it was a fresh green branch break. Okay, green as can be. And Brian noticed that. See, Brian notices. Brian's like our eagle-eyed guy, man. I don't know why we call Dustin bird dog. You're the bird dog.
All them years of deer hunting. That's all it is.
Hey, Brian, is there anything out there? Like a pointer? But we measured that. So
Yeah.
in between the second and third, right above it, it just makes sense, right? It's coincidental.
Mhm.
So that wound up being 8 foot 10 inches from the ground. So if that 16-inch track leaving individual is leaving, 16-inch tracks and is 8 foot 10, then how big is a 20-inch track leaving thing?
Yeah.
I mean, was it 10 foot? What are we looking at?
I mean,
I've had people say 12 foot. I don't know.
Yeah, me either.
it's just if you look at that toe and when you went like that and your hand touched next to that toe,
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that one.
What?
You tell me. I'm staring at the thing on the ground, just looking at it. And Kendall was the first member to get back to me because the guys, I was at the end of the line, which I prefer being at the end of the line when we're hiking.
Yeah.
They walk on by. I happen to glance back. What it was, try to explain to people is as the sun, comes in at a certain angle, right? So
Right.
if you're going this way, well, old deer hunting trick. I've always spin as I hike. I've just always done that because a lot of deer will run behind you after you pass them, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm spinning back, I just see the smaller toes, and I thought, man, that's a big deer because it looked like 2 deer prints, right? And I walked back to it, and I'm like, that's not track, that's toes. And then I see that big, funky toe, and I'm staring at it. Kendall comes over and he looks at it and he goes, "That's a footprint." I said, "No, it ain't." He said, "Yeah, it is, Brian. Look, there's the heel there." I said, "That cannot be a footprint. That's way too big." He said, "I guarantee you that's 20 inches." I said, "Nah, it's not real." Well, then we all start looking at it. Then we're getting casting material and tape measures and taking photos and videos. And
it's hard taking photos of these footprints. Let me tell you, man, they not do it half justice.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't.
They
No,
don't.
but what happened, Brian? We poured that plaster, and then when we pulled it and we took it back to base camp, we started kind of dusting it off slowly, let it cure, let it dry.
Yep.
Holy crap! We were all like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
That's
I mean-
5 toes.
Honestly, I was impressed with the one you pulled out, Shane. But then he pulled that thing, and I was like,
Yeah, it's insane.
my heart sank. Because when I had my encounter, my Bigfoot, when we went out to measure it, and thank you, Shane, for coming with us and taking the time to, spend the time in that side with
Oh,
me.
thanks for taking me, man. That was outstanding.
And we started measuring it, and it measured about 9.5 feet on the dot.
Okay.
And I know that when Will interviewed me, I think I said 9.5 to 10 feet.
Mhm.
Because, it was a thick tree.
Yeah,
And
that tree is wide. It's a wide
and
tree.
and when that he peeked out to look at me, it wasn't that far from me, but I never thought of looking for Prince because I was so scared and so
Well,
dumbfounded.
and Walter was standing right where he was. Yeah, that's pretty much where you were standing, right, when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
encountered it, and it
Hmm.
wasn't far away from him at all. And Darren, what is Darren, like 6 foot? I think
Yeah.
he said he was 6 foot.
Uh, yeah, Darren's probably a little taller than 6 foot.
He's probably 6'1" or something like that, maybe two. So Darren goes over there and peeks from behind the tree, and he looks like this little tiny dude.
He didn't
You
look
know?
anything compared to
Yeah.
that big boy that I saw. Because at first you couldn't see nothing, right? Then he peeks. And I saw that big face, and I kid you not, I'm looking
Damn.
like this. And I had my gun out, right? I had my piece out, and I think I said something stupid like, if you're a human, get out of the woods or I'm gonna fill you with lead. The first thing that came to my head because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Worse, I was amazed I could even speak. So, anyways, I say that, and this fool comes. And I was like, he hides, and he does this another take, right? And on the third take, when he came out, and I saw his broad shoulders, and I saw that they were showing on the other side of the tree. That's when I lost it. I thought I was gonna die. Holstered my gun, put my hands up in the air, and I said, "I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm dead. I'm dead." I mean, you see, I have red cheeks, but no, sir, I was white, like as a cloud white. I couldn't open my car. I couldn't find my keys. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
So if something
Wow.
that big, I didn't think of looking at his prints. I mean, I can imagine how hard it was to look at that and say, "Man, is that a real print?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, out there, it'd be hard to find some prints unless you're like right by the water, those banks.
Yeah, or unless it rained a lot.
Yeah.
But over here, I don't think it's too good for that because we can only hit the riverbanks just like we did our creeks or whatever
Mhm.
because the foliage has so much trash that it covers everything in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't take long.
Mhm.
Now, just to change the subject a little bit, I've seen your show. You have amazing guests. Who's been your
Yeah.
favorite guest so far?
Oh well, after last week's, mine's Roxanne.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Because
Yeah.
This
Roxanne,
chick is amazing.
she's the funnest. Let's see.
oh, Jacob was good too.
Jacob is good
Jacob's
because
good.
Jacob tells a really good story.
Yeah.
His encounter is amazing. You should have Jacob on sometime.
You should have Jacob on.
Uh,
It's a dog man
Oh,
thing.
Dogman.
encounter, yeah.
I learned about the Dogman. I think last night.
I liked having Cliff on.
Cliff,
Cliff
Yeah,
Barrickman?
Cliff
Money
Barrickman.
Maker Cliff.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
his
guy.
buddy Cliff Barrickman. And the reason why is just because of the little beef that we had going and him coming on the show and settling that, or at least I thought settling it at that time. But
Mhm.
I thought that was a good show. So
Yeah, that was a
I,
good show.
I heard you guys talking about that show. I don't think I actually listened to that one, but I did hear about it, and I just is that the same thing that you were talking to me about where you accidentally stepped on it?
Yes.
it
If
happened.
people like us know that it's hard to see them,
Yeah.
and you step over this shit by accident, I mean, I don't know.
It's funny, Walter. It's not the first time it happened, right?
Yeah, that's
We
true.
one of our other members, Bill.
That's you guys that you know your stuff. Imagine me. I would have disintegrated that thing.
We started breaking sticks and putting sticks over them on the
Mhm.
ground until we
Uh-huh.
cast them because
I wish I'd have done that that day.
Definitely. Yeah, it
I
happened.
wish I'd have done that day. That would have been.
I just
That would just saved a lot of
I
unnecessary.
still think that
shit.
print is amazing, eh? I think it's still amazing.
The
I
crazy
just
thing-
it gives them more validity that they see your tiny little foot compared to it. You know what I mean? To me,
Yeah.
it validates it even more. I don't care what anybody says. I know. I'm like, wow, and that was your little foot.
the crazy
Man,
thing
you
is,
gotta You gotta
that day
squeeze
when
them.
we
Hey, next
found
time I'll
those,
bring them.
Yeah.
the day we cast those tracks that Shane stepped in, we were showing a new person the area. Right, it was the first time he had been there.
Right.
So I'm telling the story of the history of the area, and I'm standing there talking about where we got these tracks. And Shane, you remember, he pointed it out behind me. He said, "Similar to that one behind you." And I turned around and looked, and the track was behind me, and I didn't even see it.
Hmm.
That's how caught off guard I was, because I was there. I wasn't even in the mindset to, track anything, or I was just there to tell a story to this guy. Like, hey, this is
Right.
how it all happened. This is
Yeah.
the area, blah blah blah. And we ended up finding the tracks that day. So
I mean, if the guy could have just used like common sense investigative stuff, right? So first of all, I drove my wife's car out there. I have a Wrangler. I love
Right.
it. It was in the shop. It's in the shop right now because I got to make sure it's all good before I start going up into the kind of meachies and shit. But
Mhm.
I took my wife's car and I parked it not in the mud, and I rode with Brian down the trail. And the guy that went with us, he got mud all over his truck too. Okay, it was muddy. It
Right.
rained.
It happens.
So it's just, and I live in Texas. I don't live in Oklahoma. So there's number two, and there was no mud on my wife's car, like zero. So he's
Mhm.
basically saying I got out there at the crack of the ass and made this shit in the dark, probably while it was raining.
Let me tell you something. I would never go out there in the dark.
Oh, I wouldn't do it alone. No, I wouldn't go out. No, hell no. Plus, I showed you we got that lion on game cam too. Remember, I showed you the picture of the lion, the
Yeah.
African lion.
Yeah.
that's the
So
greatest thing probably ever for me.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
we started calling that place Jumanji.
Well, with that track that Brian just
Yeah,
showed, I wouldn't be too surprised if it was.
Yeah,
yeah.
between the Bigfoot tracks, the lion, and the crocodile that's in the lake. I mean,
Oh
it is.
yeah, I casted its tracks too. The alligator. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's nice.
I cast everything, man.
I mean,
I just do.
you guys been doing this for quite a while, and I've experienced it. You've experienced it in your own way, and you've had whatever has happened to you. Plus, you've had a lot of fans come on the show, and a lot of people come on the show and tell their experiences. What do you make of Bigfoot?
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Well, it's real. It's flesh and blood. I don't think it's an alien. I don't think it's interdimensional traveling spirits or anything like that. I think it's just like you and I. And I'm not saying it's a modern man by no means or anything like that. I don't know if it's some kind of crossbreed. I don't know if it's a spin off of Neanderthal, but I lean towards that direction. Um, Something primitive man, but more man than animal is what I believe.
I don't
That's
know.
my,
I don't know
that's
where I had
my
somebody say they thought it was 99% human.
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, when we first started doing this, I was like, here we are with my friends, and we're going into the woods. We're looking for a monster. So I was like, it's a monster. And then we started, with the tracks, and I was kind of like getting, listening to encounters from people. And I was like, well, maybe it's some kind of ape or some sort. But then we started seeing like the January 2019 tracks where it stepped, near the creek, and then it went up on that real hard stuff. And then when it wanted to cross the creek, it stepped back down on the bank and went over the creek. So
Right.
that to me showed like it was like showing some intelligence. Like maybe I'm leaving too much evidence. I don't know. So that led me to think it's got some human attributes to it, like some kind of relic hominid or something.
Right. And as researchers, do you try to approach it from the simian and well, both the simian and human aspect, or you just treat it as something new? Because I think that if you look at it from, I mean, you don't have to be a scientist, but they have a lot of simian qualities, right? So they have to use tools. The way they communicate, they're great imitators, you know. And in just like if you go to Africa and there's a group of monkeys and there's three or four different groups, they coexist together. That doesn't mean that they stand each other. But if one sees an eagle and makes out a cry, everybody knows that he's crying, that there's an eagle, and they all know to look up and hide. So taking it from that point of view, how do you think that falls in with Sasquatch?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have some type of language, right? Uh, I think and who knows, maybe you get different stories from different parts of the country, right? So I know people talk about how the ones in the South seem like they're smaller, more aggressive. Ones in the Northwest seem bigger, slower. Are they that way just because of geographical reasons, or are they just like people? Are there different races of them? I don't know, but I don't necessarily treat them as human, even though I think they're more that way, just because they're so instinctive
Hmm.
and they rely on their senses way more than we do. Uh, and I'm sure their sight is way better. Obviously, their hearing is probably way better. But it's just like with people. If you get out in the woods and you detach yourself from where you are, your home, your phone, your computer, and you get out and absorb that nature, all your senses start to heighten a little bit too, right?
Absolutely.
You start hearing things on day 4 that you didn't hear on day 1, right? You start smelling things that smell different because you're getting away from those normal aromas. I just think these things are so in tune with themselves and with nature. They have that huge advantage on us, but I still don't treat them like they're human because it's not like dealing with any other human that we know, right?
Right. What about you, Shane?
I always feel like I'm way behind when I'm out in the woods looking for these things. Like they're like 100 steps ahead of us. That's just the feeling I have. Um, I just really want to see one, man. I mean, I've been on the hills, literally, right? I'll do it, man. I'll mess my pants. I don't care. I gotta see this, dude. This is my whole reasoning for this is because I want to visually see this.
Well, both of you plan for November because we're gonna stay over at my site.
Ooh,
All right.
ooh.
Game.
Does Brian know about it? Did you tell
I've
him?
talked to him about it. Yeah, I talked to
A
Brian
little bit,
about it.
yeah.
I
So
didn't go on the map and say here it is to
yeah,
No,
Brian.
yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
everybody run here.
yeah.
no.
No,
You know
but
because we don't do
absolutely.
that.
Thank you. But the point that I'm trying to make is, don't call the devil if you don't want to see him.
Okay.
I've
This
seen it, so I'm
you
good.
have?
Oh, I've seen, yeah.
Please
Yeah,
share it with
Brian's seen.
us.
I can't. I
Why?
Yeah, Shane and
Oh
I are
yeah, that's
are
that's true.
under contract for a TV show right now, and so I can't.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you could go back
Yeah,
to
because
one
I
of
need to
our
buy me
earlier
some new
shows
headphones.
and we talk about it uh,
Hmm.
on the Cryptoholic page. But yeah, I had a daytime visual sighting. So
It
So,
was him
so
and Tim. So there was two guys there.
okay. So you
So
had a witness with you. Yeah,
yeah,
great. And now that you mentioned that, how is that going for you guys? Is it? I know you cannot say a lot about it. You cannot talk about it. But how is it going?
slow process,
Okay.
slow
it's
process.
slow. There's a lot of budgeting.
Really?
I think that's
Yeah.
their major
I think it's one of
hiccup.
those deals that it's slow to go, but once it goes, it's going to probably just take
Yeah,
off.
Yeah.
We're
it's
ready.
exciting.
Yeah,
So you still haven't started filming yet?
I filmed one.
Oh yeah, Brian did.
I filmed one. Yeah, at our state capitol. We had a big event there.
Okay. That's cool. Well, I hope we get to see that soon, and we get some information to where to go see it. When I'm pretty sure that'll all be whenever you're done. But going back to the subject of the Bigfoot, man, I'm gonna tell you, I when I had my encounter, I knew nothing about this subject at all. Zero, zero.
Oh,
Harry and the Hendersons were not even on my radar. Like, if you would have sat next to me and told me, man, there's this thing called a Bigfoot, I would have said, I would have looked down on your feet and what? What are you talking about? And mine kind of really changed me as a person because I'm a former Marine. I've traveled a lot. I have been everywhere you can think of, and now my world is not what I thought it was. I mean, what else is there that I don't know? Where is this come? Like, where did he come from? I mean, just not long ago, I think last week they reported a discovery of the of a lost human on the evolution, the dragon man or something dragon, and they posted a picture of the skull and they recreated the face, and that thing looked scary as hell. Unibrow, but extremely sticking out and very pronounced.
Ooh.
The big old nose, the mouth was not, the head was big, but it was all full of hair, very close to looking like a Sasquatch.
Hmm. That's interesting.
So if you guys have some time, look for that and then tell me what you think about it.
Yeah, that definitely.
Uh, when I saw that thing, I mean, I questioned myself. I questioned everything I thought I knew, and I have never been that impressed. So if you ever do get to see one, I do hope that it's more on your terms, which it's always on their terms. But
Hmm.
I hope it's on a safe way, in a safe fashion for you, where you don't have to get violently attacked, because we were attacked from every which way direction. It threw rocks and howls and screams, and then the first thing they did was that low visceral growl that your rib cage vibrates with the growl, like a warning, and then they screamed. Oh my god, it was horrible.
I will say this, man. When we were in base camp and I first met you and we were talking and having a good time. Like when we got out to that area, like Walter's whole demeanor changed. Like you said, he was a Marine. I mean, this dude, he's probably balls to the wall, right? But he gets out there and it's almost like just went over him, and you could
You should
almost
you
feel what
should,
he was feeling.
you should have been there last night. Last night was worst, way worst.
God.
It was way worse. I think I choked Gabe at one point because I was scared and I didn't see it. And I was like, "Oh my god, did you hear that?" Because it sounded too close but far. If that makes any sense, like they were close enough to where you couldn't see them, but you could very clearly hear them. And
I
then
think
when
that's just how they operate too, man.
well, Javier was sitting down in my tailgate, like I was telling you, and he heard him talking like you and me are talking right now in the woods. These two voices in the woods were
Oh yeah.
just talking to each other, and Javier just springs out and he says, "They're talking, they're talking, shh!" And we're like, "What?" And we started hearing it, and it lasted quite a bit. And maybe because they were far, we couldn't understand, or maybe they were talking in their language, which what I'm not
Mhm.
doubting in any way, shape, or form that they have their own language. And it's got to be something close to what we speak about, because if you didn't know any better, you would think that there was somebody lost in the woods.
Yeah.
So, parting from that premise, these things are so smart, and I'm just amazed at the ability that they have to, because their fur and their color, the colors of their fur helps them hide. So they're the hide and seek champions, you know.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
So they'll let you only see them whenever they want to. So if you ever see them, I hope, my friend, that you are in the safest way possible, and I wish you the best way to do it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, man.
I hope I'm there too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
yeah.
I just
Just
Hopefully next November we'll be able to see it. So both of you are invited,
all right, man.
ready.
That's
I'm
cool.
on November.
and
Yeah, hell yeah.
bring a lot, bring extra batteries.
I'm gonna bring extra underwear.
I'm bringing diapers. I'm just done. I already went through too many pairs.
I'm coming out with some SBA Depends.
Got a Bigfoot printed on the back of it. Yeah, be great.
Yeah, man.
Oh, God.
I can honestly say that I think that you guys are amazing.
Thanks, man. I think Walter's awesome, man. Like, you got to meet this dude in person and hang out with this guy for a few days.
Can't wait.
He cracks me up, man. This dude's
Can't wait.
oh my
Man,
God.
we were last night. Brandon and I. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. We were kind of coming down from everything we experienced through the night, and we started hearing howls behind us on camp, and then a howl over here, to our right. And then we're like, what the hell? Like, what the hell is going on? Nothing has happened since we've been here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything wants to go crazy everywhere. And next thing you know, we heard a big old splash in the water. And from where we were to the other mainland in front of us, it's quite a ways. But the ripples kept hitting our kayaks, and you would hear the shh, shh, shh.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, dude, something's in the water. And we shined the light, and you could see where something was moving in the water. But when it does that motion?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I think I'm going to go to my freaking tent and hide for a little while. I do not want to be a part of this, gentlemen. But anyways, I hope that you get your sighting. But I think that more than a sighting, the footprints and the work that you guys do validates more the work every day. And for that, I want to say thank you guys for the job that you're doing, because there's not a whole lot of people out there willing to put the time, the effort, and present it to people for what it is, its value.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is sometimes presenting your evidence is tough because of the criticism you take. So,
But there's always going to be criticism.
and that's what we've kind of come to agreement is like, you know what? We may show it to 10 people. There's going to be that one douchebag that's always going to bash us, but there's 9 other people that think it's the coolest thing they ever seen, right? So why
Just
let
look-
that one douchebag keep you?
Look at the
Yeah.
print you guys have. Who in the world has something like that? I bet you
Right.
nobody has them that big.
Yeah, and as
Right.
far as our group, I think we have the best collection ever. I know Meldrum's got a ton, but Meldrum didn't cast those, right? I mean, those are things that people don't. These are stuff that we've cast.
Yeah, this is our work.
Hmm. How many prints do you guys think you have in total?
I think we have like 14, and January of 2019, we couldn't even cast them all because we ran out of plaster.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we had several that.
what was there? 11. There was 11 out there. That
Here we go. There's a familiar face.
What's up, Joe?
Oh, hey, Joe.
Joe
How you- How you doing, buddy? And 14 and in all, how long? How many years did it took you to collect just the 14?
Okay, so spring of 2018, Brian cast 2 16-inchers.
The original.
I'll
grab that one of those real quick while you're telling.
Yeah, you grab one.
Yeah.
And then that following summer of that, right after that, because right after that, we started going out there, right?
Right.
So June.
You just got more pumped, right?
Oh yeah, dude! Like it fueled the fire. So June rolls around, and that's when the 20-inch was cast. So we're like, okay, there's two different sizes.
Whoa!
Yeah, hey, show them that toe, dude, because that toe.
I know. I was looking at the toe.
It's
Kind
got
of
like
a
that spade.
spade.
What?
Dent in there.
That little dent.
Whoa, that's crazy looking.
Now this right here is me trying to rush it because I was nervous,
Right.
afraid I was going to get caught, and I was trying
Yeah.
to get them out, and then you can see the definition.
Look at that hill.
And that's what I was saying. So like this hill, okay, right there. See that?
Whoa.
That little bump.
Yeah.
So so this was June of 2018. So the next time we actually cast tracks was January of 2019.
That's
And the
amazing.
The 16-inch that was cast it was that same foot too. It was that left foot had that same heel. I don't know if it's a callus or an injury that calloused over or whatever. So I was like,
Some
damn,
kind of
that's the same individual that we cast back in 2018. But
Oh
then
wow!
also there was 20-inch tracks there too. So they were together. So we've cast them separate apart, in different times, but this time they were together
yeah.
in the same spot.
Wow! I'm mind blown.
Are you
I,
good with it? Let me get this other one.
I, I have been, I'm green still. I had my sighting and whatever, but I've only been doing this since last November, and I still have not found a single print.
It takes time.
Honestly, I probably walked next to them 1,000
You
times,
probably have. You probably have
and
stepped right over them. And we found these first tracks. Walter, was crazy was there was a girl who posted these tracks on a mushroom site, and she
Okay.
actually posted the deal and was like, "Hey, what do you guys think of this?" And I contacted her and I actually paid her to take me to her mushroom site just so I could see these tracks. And she's
wow,
not even a Bigfoot girl. Like, I mean, she's like, at that time, she might have been like 22, 23, just this, cute little blonde girl is out collecting mushrooms. And
naive, yeah.
yeah, and she found
She was a
4.
young hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, and she
And
deer
that
hunted.
too.
She was country girl. I mean,
Mhm.
but yeah, she was like, she just asked everybody in the mushroom group, like, "What do you guys think these are?" And everybody joked like, "Oh, it's Bigfoot or it's a dog man." I mean, people were saying all kinds of crazy stuff, and mushroom hunters are real secretive with their locations, right? They're like,
Right.
they don't want to tell anybody. And I said, "Hey, look, I don't even like mushrooms." I was like,
Yeah.
I just want those tracks. And I was like, and I'm willing to throw down the money if you take me there. She agreed, and I met her. I followed her in. Tim Autry was with me. She walked up. She said, "There they are." And I handed her money, and I said, "Thank you." And she drove away. And I talked to her maybe, what was it, Shane? Like maybe a year later, she sent me another footprint that her and her
Mhm.
boyfriend found in the same area.
Mhm.
And I tried to hook up with them to cast it, but it had rained real heavy and washed it out. So
Oh man.
So check this one out, Walter. This is our 20-inch guy. Okay, so this was he did a
I've
stutter step.
cut you off, but I feel like a baby in Candyland with all these prints.
we do too. It's okay.
So it stutter stepped, and then when it went over the creek, it went right into its left foot went into the bank, and we cast the whole thing. So you've got the heel, the initial part where the heel. This is where the heel hit, right? And the big doe hit right here. But then we caught all of it sliding through the mud. Like this is so hard to see this. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
Ah, Jesus. So here's
That's
the big. So that's his toe sliding. See, you can see the toes right here, right? And it's
So
just
what
sliding.
you're seeing motion of this
Yeah,
thing
this is
going
motion.
through the mud.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and it also supports that mid-tarsal break theory. Or so, like, here's the hill, right? The hill
thing
hit.
is, I can't get over the fact of how huge that is.
So the hill, everything hits, right? This hill pops up, and everything else slides through. So
Wow.
And
you
like,
really got to see this one in
yeah,
person.
watching this on video is tough, but to me,
Oh no, it makes
that-
perfect sense.
this
I'm
is
digging this.
this is the greatest track. And the reason why I think this is the greatest track, and Shane and I talked about this,
Because it's a live track.
it's live. It shows motion.
Yeah,
It's so hard to
dude,
fake something like that, right?
this.
People talk about the plywood cutouts, and we're walking
Mhm.
around stomping in the ground on stilts or whatever it may be, but you can't fake motion like that. I mean,
So
we
There's
he
no
can,
way.
we
and
can.
Walter, it was January of 2019. It was wintry mixed weather. Uh, that red Oklahoma sand gets even harder to make a print in. So
Wow.
this thing had to weigh hundreds of pounds to do that.
Wow. I mean, just look at the sheer size of that thing.
Insane.
That's just amazing. Look at this.
And that was so
Toes, man.
hard to cast too, being on an incline.
Wow.
This is why we ran out of plastic.
Yeah. But
I'm
we
still
knew-
having to wrap my head around the size of this thing.
We knew
gonna-
that cast would tell a story though, right?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
knew we had to figure out a way to cast that. And it's on an
Speaking-
incline. It's not
Yeah.
like it's on flat ground. It's on an incline. It punched into the bank as it jumped over. So we had to like berm it up a little bit and use our I mean, it was
Hard
not-
work.
It was not easy. And it was freezing temperatures. I mean,
cold,
we were
man.
actually building fires and putting hot coals on top of our casting material to try to dry them out so we could,
Because we actually lost a
Extract
really
from the
good
ground.
right foot print.
we did.
We lost a really
No
good
way.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get the material to harden because it was
Yeah. So wet.
and it just cold. It wouldn't dry out.
Oh, okay.
So we were built, like I said, we built a fire and took our embers and spread them on top of the cast and then covered them. Like a pig in the ground, right?
Right.
And we did that and try to get those things to dry out. I mean, it was a challenging day.
We still came away with some great evidence, especially this piece right here.
I think that's epic. I'd like to see some other people come up with that.
And for someone to look at this and say this is fake, I just want to literally slap the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Listen,
It's
please
like,
don't.
You're retarded.
If you're gonna slap him, go ahead. Do not use that cast, please.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to have a cast.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to find something like that. I mean,
Yes.
you guys captured motion, live
Yes.
motion, something that cannot be replicated. It doesn't matter how many millions or how many thousands of dollars you have. Trying to fake one of these prints is not as easy as people think.
Yeah.
Much less this size and with motion. I mean, I've seen shows where guys paid, Universal movie or an FX studio over $20,000 just to try to fake a print of this thing. And the closest they came was a horrible, fake looking
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've
thing
seen that. Like in
that
the
wasn't
movies and
even
stuff.
close
Yeah.
to a real Bigfoot. And he had to get on. They had to help him get on these things because he needed the weight. And I guess they added weight to the dude or whatever. I'm sorry. And that was just for a stationary single footprint.
Mhm.
Guys, you have that's the best picture of a Bigfoot anybody could ever see.
Yeah, this is.
I love
As soon as Brian and I looked at it, we knew we were like, "Oh
We gotta catch
shit, dude,
Yeah.
that is gonna hold some info." Because you can't really tell. You can tell, but you can't until you pull the cast and start revealing it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you're making.
It
the
was
foot,
just a hole in the ground, right? I mean,
Mhm.
basically. I mean, we
It was like
we didn't see the motion. It wasn't like we walked up to it and say, "Oh, look at all that motion in this." We just saw it in the ground. Like, hey, this would be cool to cast. It's going to show some detail. Then when we pulled it, knocked
Yeah,
it
you
out.
weren't expecting half of what it came out.
Yeah,
The
we
hair
were
on the back of my
blown away.
neck stood up the whole time cleaning this thing.
Wow,
Blown away.
that's amazing.
Actually, Brian cleaned it off first. Then he brought it here. Yeah, it was really, it was muddy.
Yeah.
It's that cold mud, man. Cold, sandy.
And we had to let it dry out for so long too in the house. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's just amazing. I love, again, I love the work you guys do, and I love that, you're not just saying it. You have the proof, and
Exactly.
if
Yes.
anybody out there dares say that anything you've ever done is fake, come have a conversation with me.
We invite them. They can come with us.
headphones.
Listen, I don't know what you're thinking of or how you think they're getting it, but man, I take my hat off to you guys. That it's not easy to spend that time out there and take the time to actually cast it and just paying attention to it alone.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can walk right next to it and not even see it.
I bet you people have walked by stuff like this before. I bet they
Yeah,
have.
that's what we were talking about when you was getting that. I was telling Walter, I said, I'm sure you've walked by them.
My stupid headphones. I need to get new
that one
headphones.
keeps sticking out on you there. So
I know. You see that? Start
Yeah.
talking and it starts going
Yeah.
like this. I'm like, what's?
Because you're getting so excited, you're moving around.
I know, man. I
You're all
can't.
amped up,
You know, I
man.
can't sit still.
I know that. So no one should sit still for casts like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Walter, you ever make it over here to my place? You can go out there with us, dude. I mean,
Oh, I'll be
you can see it
delighted
for
to,
yourself.
man.
Yeah, love
I'll
taking.
be delighted because over here we don't. It's not. Well, it's not. It's never easy, but here it's like double hard, I guess, just to find a good print. Like I said, we found those prints in that little trail, going down to
Mhm.
the creek. But there's so much pine cone and pine needles and so many trash from or debris from the trees that you couldn't really cast anything out of it because all you're gonna get is leaves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it is for us in Southeast Oklahoma.
Hmm.
Where
Yeah.
But I mean, look at that.
this, yeah, this one here in Southern Oklahoma,
Boom.
perfect spot for it. So,
Man, that's why we check the waterways, the banks.
Yeah.
Everything has to drink, right?
And
So,
yeah, you remember that creek where we saw that
mhm.
partial that kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good place to look for prints, man.
I was so ignorant that I was thinking to myself, when everybody leaves, I'm gonna cast it. I'm gonna make a little bit. No, but it's impossible. People don't understand how hard this is, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. It takes time, knowledge,
Patience.
patience, patience,
dedication,
patience.
a lot of dedication.
So I'm man, I'm really proud of you guys and the work you do. That's
Thanks,
amazing.
dude. Thanks,
Buddy.
man.
It's
We appreciate
amazing.
it.
Why don't you share with us your podcast? What times you guys go live? Plug yourselves, man.
We're all over the place. Go ahead, Shane.
So we do our show like twice a month. So it's like every other Wednesday, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Cryptoholics, very laid back. I usually have a beer. So if you want to listen and have a beer, let's have a beer.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Um,
I would have a beer right now, but it's 10.
yeah, I
Or-
know, right? It's too early, man.
Almost 11. You can start.
If I didn't have to work, I did.
And then if you want to follow us on Facebook, hit us up on Southern Bigfoot Alliance, join, and
Yeah. We
lots
share
of
a
great
lot.
folks.
Follow them,
Um,
folks. You have no if you have not watched these guys, you have no idea what you're missing. And by the way, I love that Bigfoot that you got behind you.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is amazing. That
Mine?
thing rocks. Yeah.
Let's say, let everybody.
Look at that.
There he is.
That thing is amazing.
So yeah, he's here just kind of keeping me company.
Hanging out.
I tell you, I bought that from a good friend of ours. His name's Billy McDonald. Billy,
Billy's a good
the other
guy.
Bigfoot character. I bought it from him. Actually, I have two, but I bought this one from him. He gave me the mannequin. The crazy thing about that, Walter, is I set this up in my living room originally. And the very first night, okay, I get up that next morning, I'm walking down the hall. You're kind of sleepy eyed, I'm walking to the fridge, and I look over, and this thing's standing by the back door, and it scared the hell out of me. Like, I jumped. And I looked, I was like, oh, God, you idiot. Like, I'm the one who put it there, right? So it stayed in the living room for a long time, and then a friend of mine recommended that I put it in here in the studio, but it's too hard to kind of get us both, right? Because of the
Yeah.
so you get to see just a glimpse of him, which is like,
Yeah, he's a cool
real
looking
life.
dude.
Yeah.
That's
He's a lot
amazing.
of fun, so.
Well, listen, guys, it has been amazing talking to you all, man. Again, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and
Sure, man.
having this conversation with you guys. We would love to have you back again whenever you want,
Oh, okay.
and keep talking about this, and just come over. I'll go over.
Yeah.
We'll get it. We'll get it. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that you'll get your sighting, and I'm pretty sure that if we go in November and we don't get violently killed,
We are.
we'll be all right.
Yeah. Yes.
And we need to have you on our show one day, Walter.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Whenever you want to,
Yes.
yeah. and I'm telling you right now, your show is amazing. I can't say how good it is to see researchers that put that time and are so good at what they do and bringing this information out to the public and you know listening to other people that because that in itself it's not only us gathering information but it's also the people that have been witness to some of these things that change their lives forever. It's therapeutic for them, so thank you again, man. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Appreciate all the
Hey,
kind words.
you're a damn good host, man. So
Yeah.
for a show, yeah, you did really good, man.
Oh no, I think I suck at it still. I gotta
Oh,
Oh,
I
dude,
gotta
no,
work at
no.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have to carry on talking to keep it
You
going.
know,
or anything.
you know who that is?
See it.
The Ghostbusters.
Oh, is it like a
This
cover
is the background of the
Oh, okay.
Ghostbusters, their
Oh, I see it.
office.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought that looked familiar when I was dude. So that's
Yeah.
your backdrop is the Ghostbusters.
For
office.
now, until I figure out a way to make your logo.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
You know what's funny is the whole time I'm looking at Walter's chair because I was like, man, I've been wanting to buy one of those. I saw one the other day. I was like, I'm gonna ask
That
him
does
off
look like a
air, how's
comfy
the
chair.
chair, man? So
Man, this year I bought it on Amazon and it wasn't expensive at all.
Ooh.
And it's comfortable. I think I spent like $80.
okay.
What?
I saw
Okay.
one at
Yeah.
Staples the other day. It's like 119. And
But I typed this name so that it would come up.
okay.
So
Okay, it's right
that
there. Okay.
and then you'll find it, it's the same thing as the expensive ones. It does the same thing. It's just cheaper.
All right. I'll have to look at that because I need to be more comfortable because Shane and I go for about 2 hours on our shows. It seems like so.
Sometimes.
Oh
it just
yeah, I've
depends.
seen that.
Depends.
Yeah.
We get way off script.
Well, I started for an hour on mine now until I get my footing, and then we'll take it from there.
I think
But
an hour is a good time. Yeah,
Hours
definitely.
great.
Yeah.
A great time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to Mr. Chain Church and Brian Hulan for sharing this beautiful cast with us. I mean, mind blown. What do you guys think? Make up your own minds. Until Valhalla.